Welcome, everyone. My name is Phil Anthony. With me today is Christina Laverde, and this is our monthly webinar that we present on the ICC Digital Codes Premium Platform. This month's focus, we're going to obviously discuss the features of DCP, but also give an overview of the custom I-codes that we produce. And that's where Christina will give a little presentation. She's our Vice President from General Code Division, and we'll show some of the features as well of DCP and answer those questions at the end. I do encourage everyone to feel free to post comments, questions in the chat while we're going through. If it's something pertinent that we're discussing right at that point, I'll interrupt and have it addressed. If not, we'll circle back around and be able to answer those questions at the end as well. So I will now turn it over to you, Christina. Feel free to do your introduction and share your screen whenever you are ready.
Thanks, Phil. Okay, good morning, everyone. Just a quick check, Bill, if you can see my screen.
Yes, we are good to go.
All right, thank you very much. So good morning, everyone. My name is Christina Laverde. I am the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for General Code. And if you are not aware who General Code is a subsidiary of ICC, and we have been a subsidiary of ICC for a little over 5 years now. General Code is one of the leading providers of municipal code content digitally as well as through publication nationwide, with over 4,000 customers within our client base, and it includes over 8,000 municipal customers total with American Legal. As you can see, ICC continues to grow their business and can actually grow their acquisitions over time. And with that said, we continue to grow our content. And so I'm excited today to talk to you about custom I-codes and the impact custom I-codes can have, not only for you, but for anybody that currently amends the I-codes. So the agenda today is we're going to talk a little bit about I-codes and the benefits of I-codes, give you an overview of the solution. We're going to do a closer look at all the components of a custom I-code. I'll give you an overview of pricing and funding options that are available out there. We'll take a little deeper dive in looking at Digital Codes Premium through the lens of a custom I-code, and then open up for questions. But before I go and do that, just a quick question to the group, and maybe you can do this via hands, is how many of you actually are aware that there are amendments made to the I-codes that are adopted within your state or within your municipality? We have one. Anthony, Phil, I see your hand raised. Anybody else? And Phil, you might have to monitor because I don't see the dashboard any longer.
Yep, no, that's right. I'll monitor for questions. I don't see any hands raised.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so it's you. Great. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for
there were a few.
participating.
Yeah, there were a few there. I apologize. Yes.
Yeah, that's okay. I can't see that dashboard, so I'll let you look at chat as well as raised hands for me. So let's dive.
They did raise hands, and there were people there. I just missed it on the front. Thank you, though. Feel free to ask more questions.
Thank you. All right, so the benefits of a custom I-code. So this shouldn't be foreign to you, right? So we know building and fire officials are always looking at the I-codes. They're looking at commentaries, standards, but they're also looking at the amendments that are actually adopted that actually change either the base code or the state codes all the time, because those amendments are being adopted all the time. But the other users of the I-codes and the amendments that actually change those codes include designers, contractors, tradespeople, other municipal staff within jurisdictions, and residents. And so the benefit to actually having a custom integrated I-code not only supports the daily users of the I-codes, but those that need information quickly and need access to it without looking, and don't have time for research and don't have time to be able to juggle between the municipal code and the I-codes. So what we've done, and we launched this approximately 3 years ago, is that we have the ability now to be able to integrate all the local amendments that are adopted at the jurisdiction level that affect either an ICC base code or model code or a state code. And in doing that integration work, we take the local amendments and we actually incorporate them like we do through codification into the base content. When we rolled out this functionality and this capability, we looked at the mediums in which our users look at this content. And the first that we felt was critical was to have this content accessible digitally, either through Digital Codes Premium, which is accessible anywhere at any time, but also through other digital mediums like PDF. Finally, we actually realized the need for paper and print was still required. And so with that, we actually created a solution to be able to do an integrated custom I-code in print. However, the print functionality or capability is really something that we'll show you later, but it's not the focus of what we'll cover today. What's unique about a custom I-code is the specific projects and considerations that we look at. So not only do we look at the amendments, but we also look at the specific layout and functionality that's going to be delivered online. We want to make sure that access is available to developers and builders once the codes are done. So we create a custom library to give them access to the content and also hopefully support any work effort and time it takes for jurisdictions and building officials to create their own integrated solution. So hopefully this will reduce the independent need to assemble your own. So those are really the benefits associated with the custom I-code. Let's take a deeper look. So to give an example, the standard building code is about 726 pages, and this is an off-the-shelf I-code or base code. State codes are a similar size for any of the ICC titles, but we know what happens is that once an amendment is adopted, similar to what you're seeing here on the right, it actually gets adopted and codified into your municipal code. So let's kind of take a quick look at what that is. So here's a sample of Hartford County. Actually had new ordinances that they actually amended and adopted. It went into what's called the new laws ordinance bank, ready for adoption. Once it actually got adopted, then the section of the code that actually had that adoption was affected, and a reference is put inside the code that links us back to the I-code where the custom code now resides. But that process is a standard process that happens with all jurisdictions through the amendment process. So what we're doing is we're linking the process of the adoption of the code, the codification of that amendment, and then connecting it to a custom I-code that's residing on ICC's library and platform called Digital Codes Premium. I'm just going to get past these. So let's do an overview of the solution. The solution looks like, goes through phases and milestones. So the first phase is the creation of the custom code for the current year. So every custom code that we build is usually within a 3-year cycle of the next adoption. So we're looking at your current code or I-code that you've adopted. We review all of the amendments that are affecting that code. We then go through the process of actually integrating it into the code itself using the base code content or the state code content, and then create a master copy. From that, the landing page that I just showed you right here is then created. And that landing page is now available and viewable to constituents nationwide. So within an actual particular state, in this case, the state of Maryland, this particular private library page was created with all of these codes that have been customized due to the amendments that they adopted. Once that becomes publicly accessible, we also then can provide unique digital DCP licenses to municipal staff. With DCP licenses to these I-codes, you now have a rich feature and functionality capability that Phil will talk about in a little bit. Will give you the opportunity to search, annotate, bookmark, and have those notes and annotations follow through every iteration of a custom code going through the future. We'll also take those I-codes and provide them in PDF format. So of the custom I-codes that we've actually built so far, there's a high need for digital PDFs. PDFs allow building officials to take the content on a digital device and have it accessed remotely if they don't want to use DCP. Also allows them to keep it on their desktop and provide it internally within municipal staff. Also gives them the ability to print it as they need it in sections and formats to take it on the fly. Printed codes are also available, so General Code will actually print the whole code for the municipality. It will look like this when it's done, right? So we'll actually print the whole section of the code. We'll actually bind it for you. And then, and I'll talk a little bit about how it looks and feels in a second. And also amend it for you if additional amended ordinances happen through a particular cycle. So our feeling on having the I-codes available on Digital Codes Premium is critical. And the reason for that is the rich feature and functionality available to this content online. So I'm not sure if anybody that's currently on the webinar today uses DCP. So another quick question, a raise of hands. How many of you use Digital Codes Premium today to actually look at your I-codes? A quick show of hands. We got Haley, John. Looks like a couple of them. Justin. Okay. How many actually still use it in print? Curious about that as well. Yeah. Yeah, so in our assessments of the customers that we've worked with, there is a need for a blend. However, the availability to have it on Digital Codes Premium provides robust searching, obviously access anywhere, the ability to annotate and provide notes and have archived versions, as well as collaborate and share amongst your peers. And so Hartford County actually, their building staff actually got Digital Codes Premium licenses, 3-year licenses, and also got PDFs. So Phil, I thought maybe we'd actually show them what that looks like before we actually go into print and PDF.
Okay. Take over the screen for a second here. And I did drop this link in the chat. This is where the digital codes reside for ICC. There is also a basic view, and as Christina mentioned, these local amendments along with all of our I-codes are available to be searched, not searched, but looked up by, section, and if you're not logged in with an actual license. I have a license, and so it's going to read Digital Codes Premium, which is going to open up these extra features that you'll see. But just the navigation, if I wanted to go to Maryland and then Hartford County, this is something that your constituents can do without actually having a paid subscription. But then when you actually have this DCP access, you will then be able to use these additional features. So this
are you sharing your screen? Okay.
It did move, but it didn't take it all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Christina. All right, so let me backtrack. I apologize. So this is our main website that I did drop in there. And as I had mentioned, there are free basic view to the codes, but when you do have a license with a subscription, it's going to open up these features I'll show. So just anyone, even if they don't have a license, would be able to navigate, for example, to Maryland in the Hartford County, which we're referencing. And this is also would be the type of page that would be accessible throughout Harford County's website. It would come directly here, and this is where the digital codes would reside. Able to open up each one of those books. Do you want me to go through and search for any section? Just give an example here, Christina.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. With the Digital Codes Premium, it has this advanced search functionality. And as, for example, what I'll do, since I'm already in this book, it will limit my search just to this title. But just to kind of show you as an example, if I would do a search for gutter. So, here's a nice aspect where you may be familiar where this code section is within your printed book or even a PDF, but the ability to really navigate through search terms and different advanced search functionality is where we go beyond the limitations of paper. So they did give me 8 results, but if I wanted to be something more specific and choose 2 words here and do the advanced search, now it's going to narrow this down to just, well, now it's 2 results. That's going to have both those words within the code section. And as you can see, if these are longer search results that you receive than just the 2, you'll be able to see which chapter these are coming from. You can start at the top of the title, top of the chapter, or code section, or even subsection. So if I have the ability to jump right to there, actually here is an example. And it is interesting because I do have a note that was made here already. And Christian, I don't know if you wanted to describe what this is here, but this is where we're talking about where it's visually able to be seen. This is a change in the code section.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a great example of how the integration of the local amendment has now affected the base code. And so the way in which we actually showcase changes, either through local amendments or through specific iCode text changes through each edition, we do it through color coding. So the black text is always the current iCode text for that code book. Blue text represents a new iCode text for the edition. Red text represents a state code amendment change, if applicable. And the fuchsia, which is what you're seeing here, represents the local amendment. Now with that, each user would know how this change actually went into place. But all the feature functionalities available to DC Digital Codes Premium are there for you. You can still annotate, you can still bookmark, you can still print if you need, all the great functionality. So Phil, feel free to show them what options a user has.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, since I got this code section pulled up, I guess here's the first example. One of the first reasons why people like having the actual subscription there is because I just highlighted this section and I am now able to copy and paste this, whether it be into a Word document or an email that you need to use to communicate with someone outside the department. Copy paste functionality is open when you have this premium license. And as you can see, this is a note that was created before. So if you're working collaboratively where you're sharing notes, are scrolling through this section, you'll be able to see, oh, okay, Phil Anthony created this note. You can assign different project tags so they can be organized later and searched. And then any custom notes or comments that you want to create can be done right there. So if I scroll down and show you how this will work, let me take, for example, this next code section here. These first 2 icons will open up a note dialog box. This one up here, I did not highlight anything. I just used the bookmark. But if I were to actually highlight a section here and use this first option, it will keep the highlight in this note section. So once again, you can, use this text box to, it's got a strong text dedicated editor where you're able to do strike throughs, highlights, create bulleted list, attach even URLs or different media in there. And then here's where the project tags can come up, where you can organize. If you end up having hundreds or thousands of notes, you're able to either create a new one or choose from an existing list. And then when I save it, as you can see right there, there's the example. It did keep that highlight there. Maybe want to use a lighter color for that. You can choose infinite colors when you're creating these tags. But as you can see, then the notes will be there as well too, and they will be organized. These other 2, let me scroll down here and find something with the section and subsection. So once again, each one of the code sections will have these icons here. The third icon that I haven't discussed yet is great I've heard comments back from building departments, instead of people coming into your actual office and you run into the printer to copy your adopted residential code, you could just email them this link. And as mentioned before, since this is available in a free basic view, you could just copy the URL and you could share this link. It takes that exact link that's shown up in your address bar there, the URL, and it will, when they click on it, it will link directly to this code section. So they're able to see exactly what you're referencing in your communication. They won't be able to see any of your notes or anything, but they can go to that exact code section and be able to read that exact section and any subsections underneath it. So real convenient there that they can get the actual code. Fourth and final icon there is a print option. You can print sections and subsections. So if that option is underneath there, it will allow you to select that. And what it does actually have two options. So it formats it in a, like a PDF style. So it is able to print out right there. And as we're going a little bit slow, try a different code section or give it a chance. No. All right, so this one just had a regular section without any subsections underneath, but if it is a longer section, as you can see, it'll all be formatted nicely. It has the footer that has the authoritative source with it. So yes, you can either send this right to the printer, or here is another PDF option where obviously you can't PDF the entire book or chapter, but if you got a section with the subsection, you are able to download that to your desktop and mark it up as a regular PDF. And then finally, I'll make two other comments on the notes here. So within this same title, you're going to be able to see all the different notes. And here's where I was talking. If you end up having hundreds of notes there, you can organize them by the project tag and just be able to search by those and click right to them. And then finally, and I'll wrap this section up and turn it back over to you, Christina, but I did want to show you that when you're using these notes and bookmarks over a cycled period, for example, this will be where you can reference all the notes that you've made in any of your titles. But for example, if I take the 2021 IRC, I can view all the notes in here. And as you're aware, we're just releasing the 2024 cycles out over the summer. So all the notes that I've created in 2021, I would be able to migrate these into 2024 cycle. You can choose move them, move all, which would delete them in the source and just put them in 2024. I think most people would probably do clone all, but what this will do is it'll allow us to move all those notes that are created over that past cycle into the new cycle. And the system is intelligent enough to know that if the code section number, or maybe it's in a new chapter, is changed, it is aware and able to put those in the correct place where they would occur in the new version. So I'll turn anything else you want me to show related to this, Christina, or turn it back over to you?
So Phil, before you do, we've got a couple questions
Sure.
that came through. The original question was, is this available to Aspen, right? So if you can go back to the iCodes page where we list the actual states.
Okay. There's actually two ways to reference this. These are where the actual states locations. I think visually,
Yep.
I will go to this side because we put it in this expanded format where you could see the
Yep.
exact states that have local amendments underneath it.
So go ahead and expand Colorado for me.
Okay.
Only see there is Denver. It's because Denver actually probably had a custom code built for them. And so once that custom code is built is when they actually show up in the jurisdiction pages. So once we build Aspen's, it would show up there as well. And that's exactly what we did for Hartford, and we did for Bellevue and Goodyear, Arizona, for example. Any of the core ICC codes would qualify for customization. So you don't have to adopt them. We really only would work on the ones that you've adopted. So if you haven't adopted the IRC, it's not one that you want to actually customize. If you've only adopted the IBC, those are the ones that we would customize. So if you changed a whole chapter, which is what came up in the chat, like chapter 34, we would actually go ahead and do a complete amendment for the IBC replaced Chapter 34. You probably adopted it. It would actually affect your municipal code. Go through there. It gets noted there, and links would then jump you to your custom IBC page, of which we would actually then have your code listed there. And it would show just like Hartford's did when we actually got to that custom page with the custom coloring to show the difference.
And yeah, as we're stating here, I mean, all the different features that bring it beyond the limitations of paper really opens up the availability of the code both internally and externally with your constituents as well.
So, Phil, you can share back with me,
Okay.
and we can kind of get into the solution just a little bit more.
All right, I've shared back with you, and to avoid my embarrassment, make sure you hit the share button as well too.
You let me know, okay?
It's on you. Go ahead and hit share at the bottom. We should be fine.
All right. I did do it, so.
It worked.
Okay, so again, just kind of where we were just talking about how the color coding online as well as in print would show with the amendments incorporated. So in your example, Chapter 34, we would actually replace with the new amendment, and the color coding would then be available for your readers. Just to give you just a refresher again, from a PDF perspective, right? This is how it would look in your PDF. It would show the same way with those changes, right? Okay, so actually, just also another quick look is here's a sample of a page where we actually had a state amended code to start with first. So the state code actually changed the base code, so that's in red, and the fuchsia is the local amendment change. So you can just see how that would look. And in print, if you actually chose not to get colored, because sometimes color pages are expensive, we do annotate using symbols on the left of a change that's either affected by a state code change, an addition change, or an amendment through symbols. So let's kind of talk a little bit about the solution as it relates to pricing. So this is kind of a good way for me to showcase this. The steps that happen once the amendments are provided to our customization team is that we work with the base code, we look at your amendments, we find placement of it, we look at the sections that are changed, and we go through all those steps to incorporate the local amendments. Once that's done, then we again upload to Digital Codes Premium if you're purchasing a Digital Codes Premium annual license. And with that, we will launch the actual custom code into the custom library, provide training. If you're not familiar with Digital Codes Premium, we'll provide you training for that for all of your users, and then support going forward. From that next stage, within about a week or so after the launch of Digital Codes Premium, because that is the first deliverable that you will see, you will get your imprinted code books. Those are loose leaf, 3-hole punch, similar to your municipal code, bound. We can do as many as you need, but we can provide that to you, and you can provide it in black and white, or we can provide it in color if you do need that. And lastly, we also can provide your PDF licenses of the same code if you just like that digitally. So each one of those items are charged separately. A build from a time frame perspective, from the time that we get the amendments and we're ensured that if you're using a state code, the state code has been adopted. If not a base code, it takes approximately 6 to 8 weeks per title for us to actually get the custom code ready and up. We're currently in the process of actually building Bellevue, Washington's right now. They had 7 titles that they amended, and we're doing our first deliverables now for those codes. But what was unique about Bellevue's solution is they also had some off-the-shelf codes that they needed that weren't amended, and they really wanted to do that through the whole purchase process. So we actually included base iCode purchases, DCP licenses for those base codes as well. Commentaries and standards were all sold at the same time. So as you budget for this every year, you need to look inclusively about all of your I-codes needs, not just the amended ones, and we can package the whole thing together. So Phil spent some time talking about the tools and features of Digital Codes Premium, but these are the ones that were really getting used the most of all the features. I can tell you that the investment associated to this platform and continued features and functionality is a strategic direction that ICC does and has a dedicated team that continues to provide a rich environment, not only for our licensed users, but also those that are just looking at the base codes. So if you haven't used DCP, I encourage you to work with Phil and potentially getting a trial. So our subscriptions are part of the process. We do sell them, but they're sold as singles or collections, right? So when we sell a DCP license with a custom I-code, we usually sell them for the code itself if there are no other codes that are needed, or a collection if you would like. So we'll work with you through that process. If you are a member of ICC, that will give you some additional discounts for DCP licenses, which we're happy to go through with you. The subscriptions are usually a 3-year subscription. So there is, from a budgeting perspective, and I'll just go back to the slide here quickly. Your project build is a one-time price, and you don't have to budget that for your 3-year cycle, but you do need to budget it for Digital Codes Premium, as well as your PDFs. But what I can tell you is that every time you adopt another series of I-codes and want a custom code, you do have to go through this process again, and the build has to be constructed again. So here's some samples of I-codes that we have built over the last year or so. Like I said, this Bellevue is actually on their second round. We're doing their 2021 codes now. Hartford actually signed up for their second series for their custom I-codes. Guadalupe actually just contacted us for an update for their fire code. I will tell you, fire officials specifically are, we tend to see amend the codes a lot. So we are working with many chiefs out there as they look at custom I-codes as an option, because there seems to be frequent amendments associated with that particular code. All right, so I'm just going to stop sharing, Phil, and maybe you can take it over and we'll open it up.
Yep, no, absolutely. So if you have questions, feel free to post them in the chat. Let me go ahead and just share the digital codes again. And I'm just bringing up the feature set. You know, I think I touched on most of these here. And then, yeah, I don't know, Christine, if you got stories or examples where people are using these locally where it saved time. Like I said, the ability to share a link directly, I think was really great for a lot of departments. It saved them the time of, you know, sending paper, and they're just able to send these links via the emails and stuff as well too. So.
Yeah, most of our customers who purchase Digital Codes Premium licenses with their custom codes really saw the benefit in the field, having accessibility to an integrated solution. Before they used to actually have, they would either carry paper, carry the amendment with them, or a PDF of it. Having it integrated into DCP allowed them to do quick searches and be able to get to the content very quickly as they were working in the field and working with the professionals that they had to engage with on a day-to-day basis. I can cite an example specifically with Bellevue. Bellevue's team, I mean, that was a team of close to 56 different types of either building officials, fire officials, who had DCP licenses and had found that this definitely streamlined their process and was allowing them to react to questions quickly, which if they didn't already have it memorized, could get to it. And usually what happened was they knew the building code really, really well, and they may have known the local amendment that actually changed the code. But a lot of times when the series changed, they probably needed to look something up a couple of times before they were really familiar with it. But what really kind of made it critical for them is they were working with third-party professional providers in the market, being different types of building officials and contractors and tradesmen who had to have access to those codes. They really benefited to having an integrated solution because 9 times out of 10, they didn't have all the information at their fingertips to actually cite it correctly. And so for them, it saved them a ton of time because they used to answer a lot of questions, either coming in via email or phone, where now it was accessible to the people that would question it all the time.
That's definitely a great point. I mean, obviously, you see the needs for this from, governmental and jurisdictional organizations, but architects, contractors, engineers are acquiring these licenses to these codes so they can view those, both the I codes, and it's obviously a great advantage if they can access amended local codes online as well too, rather than going to exact websites or calling up your department every time.
I think the other benefit that I think I want to highlight here is that the time savings associated to the building officials to try to create their own integrated solutions. Bellevue quoted months for them to come up with an integrated solution for 7 titles, and they were dealing with a state code. To have us actually do this for them and not have that responsibility and make sure that it's accurate, correct, and available took this off of their shoulders. And allowed them to focus on really their day-to-day work and not the actual, what I would call codification of the I codes based on the amendments. And so they were happy to relinquish it back to us, who had access to the core content through our XML and publishing systems, and had access to the most up-to-date content and working with their municipal amendments that they were adopting.
Also make note, we do have a mobile app. Obviously, you see this is web-based, which is a huge advantage because anywhere on any device that you have access to an active browser, you can access the content. So whether it's in your work computer, your personal computer, at home, on work, in the field, if you've got data access, you can access it that way. The mobile app is also an option to use, and the one advantage there is if you know you're going to be totally offline in a location. While you're attached to the internet, you can download up to 15 titles within that app. So even if Bellevue is out in the field in some remote area, if they've downloaded the Bellevue building code, they would still be able to go through that title and be able to reference individual sections and code sections as well too. We also did not cover too much in our how we can use those digital licenses. I think for the most part, people love having direct access, always on. You can have a license that are dedicated to people, or they can be shared in a group. It depends on how you want to configure them. This is all part of the process that we go through as you're getting your build done. We can also discuss what would best be the configuration to suit your objectives for your department as well too. And I don't see any new questions in chat, Christina, or if you'd like me to cover anything else here.
I don't see any other questions. Just curious, let's just post some questions back out to the audience if we can.
Okay. And I'll just comment quickly, since I did post this website here, I know we're focusing on the advantages and benefits of custom local codes, but as you come on here, yes, you can see with a premium complete license, and we do have many jurisdictions that prefer to have those. I guess maybe the main benefit too of beyond what your local custom codes might be, people still enjoy having the commentaries of the I codes, and there's other resources, significant changes, revision history and things like that. And we do continue to add more titles and standards as we increase those across our platform as well.
Thanks, Phil. Just a quick survey of the group. Those that raised your hand that you actually amend the I codes, those that do that. Curious, what's your preferred way of actually looking at the code? Are you using print, digital? What are you using as your preferred way? You might have access to all of them. Probably using print. Thanks, Jim. Print. What's the different options for DCP, single or how many users? Okay, we can talk about that. Wayne, thanks for letting me know you're using print. Digital for plan review, print for studying. Oh, that's great, Haley. Studying for certification. That's good to know.
Yeah, interesting. We do have those study companions, which all those features that we have as well too, where you could create notes. Um, and I don't know if you're aware, but if you're taking exam on the Pronto exam system, they just started integrating the option of using digital codes. You wouldn't have all the advanced search functionality or be able to access your notes, but it would be like in that basic view that you could have on your Pronto test screen, so you could still use the index and search buttons for those as well too.
Okay. So thank you for your responses. I've got another question for the group. How many of you have a permitting software system that you're using within your jurisdiction? And if so, how many of you are having to manually enter in iCode content into that permitting software for easy reference? If you are, then one of the things that's really a great opportunity for you to consider is getting the API code content to work with your permitting software. And if you build a custom iCode, that content is available digitally for an API integration into your permitting software. This will allow you to be able to access content just in time as you need it while you're actually going through the permitting review process without having to jump back and forth. And so ICC has been able to offer API content of their iCodes through Code Connect for some time, but now is available with custom codes. Does premium include access to commentary and or significant changes? Question for you, Bill.
Yeah, and I just posted the API information there on the website there. So with
So,
and I guess let me clarify too, the word premium is the applies to the platform, the feature set that we have. So you can have premium content in both well, all three. A single IBC would it be an example of a single, or a collection? The complete iCode would be a collection, or the complete Bellevue collection would be an option. And then complete is what I was showing you that I had on my license for on my screen. So complete has about 1,500 titles. That would include the commentaries, the study guides, and those things I was showing you on there. So it can be tailored to fit whatever budget you have. As mentioned, if you're doing custom local codes, Christina's group will come up with the exact pricing and plan that'll work for your objectives. But if you're just having individual users who need more content than that, complete is usually the way to go if you're adding multiple singles or collections together. But if you only have need for, certain titles, then you're able to just get single licenses as well too.
so I probably should have asked this question earlier of the group because I can't tell from your registration, but how many of you have a state adopted code? And just put the state in if you do. Just enter in the state if it's a state adopted code in the chat. PA, Kentucky, oh, state. Is that Colorado? Washington, New Jersey. Haley, it's interesting. We did the Bellevue code. We're actually talking to Tacoma as well, trying to see if we can support them. So we've got some specific jurisdictions that have kind of been talking to us about this next step. And depending on where they are in their cycle, be it 2018, 2021, or their plans to do it in 2024, they're really looking at, from a budget perspective, how to budget for this going forward.
And maybe you can address, Christina, too, the status of this. I know the people in Washington State are familiar with 2021 being released soon, but I get a lot of calls from architecture, engineering firms wondering when they'll be updated as well.
Yeah, the Washington Code specifically took a little bit of a delay this year through the process, and we are working through that. We work directly with ICC's publishing team, right? So General Code does the jurisdictional custom codes, and ICC's publishing staff does the state codes. And so we work collaboratively together because we can't start a jurisdiction code until the state codes are done. So we know that, we're still planning to have them done this year. There's been probably a 3 to 6 month delay, but they're on target for 2023, Phil.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We get that question often. Like I said, we work hand in hand with the state, so all the information is being approved and provided,
Yep.
so you're getting it accurate. And just pointing out when it is available, it becomes immediately available digitally. As you can see, I pulled up Washington. You can see we got the 18 up there too, waiting for the 2021. As soon as that comes in, we drop that in. But as you can see, if you need to reference codes in the future from prior cycles, those all are retained there as well too.
Yeah, once the 2021 Washington codes are posted, we're really within weeks of getting the custom jurisdiction pages up. So Bellevue's will follow suit within really just a couple of weeks. All right. Well, hopefully you found the information that we shared valuable. Phil and I are available to you to have any independent conversations, either about Digital Codes Premium or custom codes. I'm happy to talk specifics if you've got interest in learning a little bit more, or even getting a quote of what it would take to actually get a custom iCode built for any of your adopted codes. And we thank you for taking the time to be with us today and learning a little bit more about some of our custom solutions and professional services that we provide.